versions of me. One the world sees, loud, funny, and the girl who makes everyone feel like she's got life figured out. And then there's the other me, the one life doesn't prepare you for. Today, both of them are on stage. Hi, I'm Archana, and if there's one thing life has taught me, it's that strength doesn't come from big moments or loud victories. Most times, it starts with a spark, something tiny, something only you can feel. And honestly, if life came with a manual, mine would probably start with a note saying, "Good luck, she runs on caffeine, spontaneous deep talks, and will for sure disappear Miss Dust to stare at the ceiling." But maybe that's the thing about life. It doesn't hand you instructions, just these strange little sparks that make you stop and feel. Have you ever felt like life just paused, like the surroundings roared, but a sudden silence unfolded within you? It's as if the universe is the pause button, but somehow no one else got the memo. It happened to me when I was 13. I realized not all new beginnings come with sparkling confetti. That's where my story begins. Not with a big bang, not with some movie scene transformation, but in silence so strong it almost echoed. The world talks about new beginnings like they're huge turning points. I used to think it meant moving cities, flipping your entire wardrobe, or at the very least, starting a viral YouTube channel. But the truth is, life has a quieter way of teaching us that change doesn't need fireworks. Sometimes beginnings tiptoe in during ordinary days, almost invisible to everyone else. Maybe it's the day you realize you're tired of pretending to be okay, or when you decide, I want something better. Picture this: 13-year-old me, sitting outside after a long day, phone dead, which at 13 feels like the end. So I'm forced to do the unthinkable, just sit with my own thoughts. And suddenly, everything felt heavy. I was quiet, not sad exactly, but tired. Then, after what seemed like forever, I looked up and noticed a star flickering. Not the brightest, but it was there. Through all that haze, it felt like my own little spark inside. Quiet, stubborn, and refusing to go out. You see, when we are little, our sparks are natural, wild, and unruly. You want to be an astronaut, a unicorn, a professional ice cream taster. Boundaries aren't a thing yet. But as we grow, we hear that's unrealistic. Don't be dramatic. Or the classic, what if you fail? And slowly, the spark which we once trusted to drive our life became something we needed to cage to appear normal. We began measuring our worth by what goes right instead of what feels right. And let's be real here. We all break sometimes. Even the most confident person you know has probably felt lost or shattered. Falling apart feels like the end, like you've been erased. But truly, that's when resilience pulls up a chair and says, "Alright, let's do this." Breakdowns aren't the end, they are the start of breakthroughs. We live in a world that glorifies noise, constant movement, constant proving. But silence is sacred. When everything else slows down and distractions fade, your inner voice blossoms again. If you're quiet, people ask, "What's wrong?" But silence isn't what's wrong, it's what heals. Every storm ends with calm. Every fire still needs air to reignite. And when life goes quiet, your thoughts get loud. That's uncomfortable at first, but definitely necessary. After an especially rough week, I decided I was walking every evening. No music, no phone. At first, it was just me being completely dramatic, begging the universe to please stop with the plot twist. Back then, I didn't know. Those frustrating moments were shaping me. But soon after, something shifted. The silence stopped being scary. It actually taught me that my worth isn't measurable, not by grades, followers, or trophies. My worth lies in how I rise, how I learn, and how I care. Those quiet moments lit me up. In them, I started noticing sparks, tiny connections between strangers and strays, between joy and pain. A spark is not a flash, it's a quiet insistence, a refusal to let wounds define us, the courage to see beauty where others see brokenness, to write one more poem, to notice sunlight turning the ordinary to something beyond extraordinary. But not all sparks are big. Some are fleeting, in smiles, to conversations, even in music that hides silent truth. And for some, it's making out of bed on a tough morning. Seriously, it should be an Olympic event because I definitely win a gold. And sometimes that spark is pain. Pain teaches what peace never can. I myself experienced a slow collapse, losing friends, facing uncertainty, and eventually losing myself in the process. Not all at once, but like the color fading out of a treasured picture. I hid the emptiness under smiles and laughter, but when alone with my thoughts, felt an emptiness so heavy that it filled every space. Everyone admires the rise, the storybook success, but the spark isn't in the rise, it's in the choice to rise again and again, even if you shake, even if you cry. When I started writing, just for myself, letting go of pain and guilt through words, I saw the spark there. Quiet, inviting, and patient. Pain wasn't an end, it was an awakening. You don't have to be grateful for it, but you will learn something. Usually, right after Googling, why is this happening to me at 2 a.m.? Sparks don't show up to rescue us, they appear the moment we recognize ourselves, even in difficult times. It's in that recognition that, even amidst failure or mess, one can choose to keep going. But sparks wither when hidden behind shame, comparison, or pretense. They thrive on kindness, rest, effort, and sometimes even tears. Out of my pain grew curiosity, then connection, then hope. Pain fractured me, yes, but the spark rebuilt me, genuine and alive. And along the way, something else became clear too. Not all sparks are born within us. Some arrive through the others. Those are the sparks we share with the world. Someone's kindness, a message out of the blue, one that says you'll be okay. Or the friend who drags you out for ice cream when you'd rather hibernate. Those sparks spread, lighting people's dimming world. And one day, your small act might be the reason someone else chooses to rise. And when these shared sparks meet the spark within us, that's when momentum begins. That's when transformation stops feeling impossible and starts feeling inevitable. If you feel lost, your spark may be buried under ashes, waiting for breath. Everyone you admire started in the darkness, asking what you might ask right now. Is this how I truly want to exist? That's when I understood hope. Hope isn't loud or dramatic. It's small and steady. It's that little voice that says, I'll try again. Every big achievement begins as a maybe. Science even shows people with hope persist longer. Not because they're lucky, but because hope fuels resilience. Let's try something. Think of one small act. A smile, a helping hand, or the song you heard on a tough day. That restored hope for you. Even briefly, hold that feeling. That's your spark. And sometimes that spark walks into your room wearing mismatched socks like it's the latest fashion trend. My sister, Mayaka, is a professional spark. She makes the silliest faces, holds animated conversations with soft toys as if they could answer back, and laughs at pure nonsense. Having siblings is like carrying a secret you can't throw away, but also fully can't admit that you care about. But she's been my light in ways I hadn't realized. I learned people themselves are sparks, not because they do something perfect, but because they exist, laugh, stumble, and yet continue anyway. Watching her reminded me that hope often arrives disguised as laughter and nonsense. But here's the thing we rarely talk about: hope needs protection. The wall will try to blow it out. Fear will whisper, "You're too young." Doubt will tell you, "You're too late." But no one else can guard that spark for you. You are its keeper. Your mind is the matchbox. Feed it with encouragement, not comparison. Surround yourself with people who fan your flame, not the ones who blow it out. And we always wait for the perfect moment, don't we? But perfection is a myth. Honestly, it's like the Wi Fi at my grandma's home. It doesn't exist. Transformation begins with small, imperfect steps, a single act of courage, a quiet yes. Tiny progress is still progress. Even invisible consistency adds up. Every morning, you get the same choice: stay where you are or take one step forward. That's all progress really is. One brave step. Some days you'll sprint, others you'll crawl, but either way, you're still moving, because progress isn't perfection, it's persistence. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized every spark, no matter how different, all begins the same way: fuel, oxygen, spark. Fuel is your passion. What moves you? What excites you? Oxygen is your environment, the people who give you space to grow. And the spark? That's the moment you act. Sparks live in kindness, in curiosity, in small moments of connection. You have the power to ignite a spark in someone, sometimes just by seeing them, truly seeing them. That's gentleness, but also contagious strength. Maybe that's what resilience really is: not a grand race, but the quiet decision to keep the flame alive. Starting the spark isn't about waiting for miracles or perfect conditions. It's about lighting your matchstick and declaring, "This is where I begin." Sparks demand courage more than readiness, and courage can alone set the whole life ablaze. In the end, your spark isn't about how perfectly you shine, it's about how fiercely you refuse to go out. A single spark can light a candle, but a shared spark can set the world aglow. So start yours, start small, start quiet, start uncertain if you must, but start. Protect it, grow it. Sparks are imperfect, they're meant to ignite, not perfect, but powerful. See yes instead of later, try instead of wonder, speak instead of shrink. Because the world doesn't need more flawless people, it needs more sparks. And your spark, however quiet, could be the very reason someone else chooses to rise. Thank you.